We're live. Hello, Candy Clark.
Oh, Vicki Abelson.
Well, I'm telling you, this is a test of
live. Hello, Candy Clark.
Now it just goes on and makes noise without my
Vicki Abelson.
without my acceptance. But now it's okay because now I've shut it up. Oh my God, I can't do this anymore. I need a crew. Hi, Candy. How are you today?
I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Doing good. Just sitting here in my house. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Hanging out. Yeah, Vicki.
So, all right, I just switched it to public, so hopefully people will find us. So, Candy, tell me what, I know you're double vaxxed, and I know you've been going out in the world. How is your life opening?
A little bit.
How is your life changing since you've been vaccinated?
It hasn't changed that much. I did go to the Rose Bowl swap meet, and it was way too crowded. And
really?
Creepy. Yeah, and they had people waiting to get in. Everybody's very starved for entertainment and going out, but that was mind-boggling, the amount of people that were at the Rose Bowl.
Oh,
and
wow.
That was way too much and very risky, I thought. But anyway, wandered around, my boyfriend and I, and but it was very disconcerting. But the other day I went out to early dinner and sat inside. It seemed okay. They had the windows open, and we're just limping along, trying to figure this out. It's very late in the game. We've kind of, I think for me, it's day 406 of, this nonsense, this pandemic, this COVID thing. But I do have both shots, and I really have no side effects to speak of, just the usual sore arm. That after the second one, I did a little hip ache in the middle of the night, but I just stretched my legs out and it went away. So it was really nothing. And I did notice a lot of energy, and I felt really good.
Yeah.
Because I guess it brings your immune system up pretty high.
Right.
And so you feel like, just supercharged. I really liked that feeling. That was great. So if they want us to have boosters, and I'll be in line. And what I'm really worried about right now is India, which is
I know.
I mean, by the second it's burning up, and I'm just so nervous that that's going to ricochet back to the US, because that's what China was doing. It was burning up with the virus, then it came here, and now we're still suffering from it. And I just another round of this, so I'm hoping that more people will get their shots. So inevitably it will be back because of over 1 billion people in its country, and it will escape and it will come back. Just urging everyone, while we have the chance, to get the shot. Just get the shot and quit fooling around, because it's going to come back, and it's going to come back hard, and it's going to be mutated. So
do you feel that we're protected with the vaccine from the variants? Do you feel safe right now?
I'm not sure. This is all brand new. This is all brand new, but I can't that it will be back, because it's just too big. It's India is out of everything. They're just dropping in the streets, in their cars. And that's what was happening with China when it first happened.
Right.
And people just dropped in the streets. And when they built that 1,000-bed hospital, like overnight, to take on the the overabundance of sick people, I knew it was serious. But India they've built a 7,000 outdoor hospital with cardboard beds, and it's you know, when a country builds heads, you know, it's in trouble. They're running out of wood because, you know, they're big into cremation there.
Right.
And so they're chopping everything down. It's just a big mess. And I've been posting it on my Facebook page just to let everyone know that more than likely back, which really discourages me because I was feeling so happy that we were you know, that we were out of this. Anyway, it aggravates me.
So they've also done these like these huge crematoriums, which is like in the public square, which is.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing the best they can. That they have a overabundance of, you know, people collapsing and you know, it's just a big giant mess. And it really discouraged me and brought me down, you know, because I was hoping to be out of this by September, October, you know, and I'm just praying that let anyone travel out of the country, you know.
Have you traveled during this, Candy?
I went on a couple of 1-hour flights twice. I guess it was this year or the end of last year. It's all blurring into one big and night, you know. There's not enough to chop up your life to make it, you know, anything different, you know. It's just kind of a grind of sweeping the floor and, you know, watering the plants. But yeah, it was okay on the plane. I felt fine.
You did? And have you been going to supermarkets through this? I can't remember.
What?
Have you been going to supermarkets through this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I just squirt that stuff on my hands and clean my steering wheel. And, you know, at first I was even wary of the mail. You know, I sprayed that down and, you know, I bought all these rubber gloves and, you know, I have a lot of masks and wear them a time or two and then throw them away. I do cut the elastic because, you know, you don't want this to wind up in the ocean and then a turtle's got this mask around its neck. So, you know, try to do my little bit of conservation.
So do you, all right, so do you feel you were in an indoor restaurant, do you feel differently now that you're vaccinated? I mean, did you feel okay when you were sitting
have anyone? Yes, I feel differently. I feel better. And I know California is getting low numbers now. We're going into the yellow zone or, you know, the caution zone instead of the dire, you know, red and purple zone.
Right.
So I feel, you know, enough people are, you know, caving in and getting the shot. And I bet you there are a lot of people that aren't telling that they're gotten the shot because they're stuck, you know, wanting to prove a point, you know, I will never get the shot. But I have a feeling there's a lot of people that are getting the shot anyway. And it would be smart to do because when India, you know, sends the here again, you know, it's going to be, you know, you'll wish you had the shot. So that's my prediction.
So I'm assuming that we're going to have a booster soon. I think they're working on them feverishly. Yes. And I think we'll end up getting a third shot and that will.
England is ordering boosters. England's already placing their orders. So it was in today's news.
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't know that there was a booster that was approved for the variant.
Yeah, they've already made their orders. You know, it might not be manufactured yet, but they've placed their order.
And so does that booster take?
I figured we would have a booster in 6 months, you know, I'm hoping.
Right.
Because it, you know, me feel as good with the booster as it did the second shot, you know. Heck, sign me up.
I agree. I hope that it takes into account this Indian variant. It's scary. The variant.
So annoying.
So what is a day like for you? we've been in this for 14 plus months. How are you filling your days? What are you doing? Are you doing anything differently?
Oh, sweeping the driveway and watering the garden, petting the cat. The Academy season is over with, so I was watching a lot of movies so I could vote.
How did you feel about the Academy
Just
Awards?
kind of do what?
How did you feel about the Academy Awards?
I liked them. I modest and the best they could do. There wasn't a big audience. It was just the people that were nominated, basically. And it seemed like everyone did their own outfits and their own hair and their own makeup, and I kind of liked that. I thought it was appropriate for time right now. And it wasn't a big gala extravaganza, which I think would look wrong right now. I thought it was a modest, humble award, and people are so used to being a certain way and they don't want any changes, but they have to be mindful of the situation we're in. You can't be flaunting hair, $10,000 gowns and all of that stuff when people are being kicked out of their apartments. It just doesn't look right.
Right.
So I thought perfect. I was very pleased.
Were you happy with the winners? Did you pick winners this year?
I got about half right. I never get 100% right. I just pick the things I like and not what I think is going to be popular vote. And so, I'm half right. I was very happy with the father.
How did you feel
Hopkins winning?
How did you feel about Frances McDormand? She is so wild, Frances McDormand. Do you know her? Have you met her?
No, I've never met her. I don't even know if she lives in Los Angeles. I'm not sure where she lives. I don't think she goes out much.
Yeah, she lives in New York. I ran into her when our kids were little at a school fair. And she was actually less eccentric in real life than she is when she's on shows. She was more normal.
I don't think she enjoys this award thing. She shows up, but I don't think she gets a kick out of it like I would or you would, nominated. We'd be like, yeah. But she kind of makes it seem like she's kind of annoyed with being there.
Yeah. Actually,
not how I would behave.
She had pretty good humor this time, howling like a wolf, and she was running down there, and yeah.
Well, it was, I guess, appropriate for the time, for the pandemic.
So I know this story, but can you tell people about the first time you went to the Academy Awards? Because you had a very different experience.
The time I went, I sat like on the 5th balcony behind a pillar. And I was so ecstatic just being there. At the same time, I had my first trip to Disneyland, that same week. So I was really in, heaven, and all the things were happening to me. So, but yeah, it was a wonderful night. I rented they were renting binoculars down on the first, and I rented a pair of binoculars for, I think it was $5, which back then was quite a sum of money. But I had the best time. I went there by myself, I think. It's so long ago, and a lot of since 1970, when was it, 71? So, but I just remember being way up the pillar and just peeking around, and it was a last minute tickets, so just took what I could.
So okay, I seem to recall there's a story with that, how you got to get that Academy Award ticket. Like, didn't you make not a deal with the devil, but didn't you sort of make a deal with someone?
I made a deal with a casting agent who wanted me to come out to try out for this part in a film, John Huston, Fat City. And
Right.
so I said, yeah, I'll come because, you know, I want you to pay your own way and everything. I'll come, but I want to go to the Academy and Disneyland. And I thought for sure that would kill the deal. You know, the Academy Awards. I thought, nah, there's no way they can, you know, come up with the tickets, but he did, you know, so I came on and then I had to do my audition, John Huston, and that was a nightmare. But for and then I wound up doing a screen test and, you know, got the part and got a boyfriend at the same time, Jeff Bridges.
Okay. So, and didn't you and Jeff didn't you go to the Academy Awards with Jeff next?
Yeah, and here's a picture of me and Jeff.
No, that's Bowie. Do you have a picture of you and Jeff?
Not next to me.
Okay.
I have a lot of pictures of me and David Bowie
We're going to talk about that.
on the set.
So,
Yeah.
so did you meet Jeff on the set at the audition? When did you meet Jeff?
I met him on the screen test.
And was it
I
instant?
met him on the screen test.
Was it instant for you guys?
Yeah, love at first sight. You know, it does happen.
Wow.
It's happened a few times.
So,
But, you know, it's great when it's mutual, you know, that both people, it's really sad when you have love at first sight and they couldn't care less. Now that's tragic.
have you had the unrequited love, Candy? It's hard for me to imagine that you've been there.
Oh, a bunch of times.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
that
better
sucks.
believe it.
So, all right, but let's talk about happy times. I can't remember if the last time you were on, we talked about you and Jeff. I know we've talked about it before, but he was a young actor at the time, right? He was just starting out as well.
Yeah, he was. I think he had the last picture show, and you know, we went to the Academy Awards, he and I and his parents,
Wow.
in a limousine that they had and he and I were there for the last picture show.
Well, and I'm guessing that was a
got
very different experience than the first
Yeah.
time you went and sat up in the balcony with the binoculars.
Yeah, I'm moving on up.
So you must have done like the whole red carpet thing, and because Jeff was nominated, it had to be a lot of.
Yeah, it wasn't as, you know, I don't even know. It was televised. It wasn't the extravaganza that it had become, you know, up until the pandemic. It just got bigger and more expensive. And, you know, the Hollywood Reporter and the Variety, that's basically where they made their year-end money, was
Right.
from the advertisements, the movie studios, and you know, the people that they were running for Academy Awards this year. There wasn't that much advertising, so they us to watch the films and you know, make our picks.
Did you
And
have?
it's all legit. These people don't advance who's going to win. I mean, there's people that guess, you know, and I was looking at a Variety on someone's guess, and
Yeah.
they were like half right, half wrong. So
Did you think that Chadwick Boseman was going to win, or did you think Anthony Hopkins was going to win?
my vote was for Hopkins. So,
Right.
you know, it was a toss up, but I guess there were a lot of people that voted for Hopkins.
So, Candy, a lot of people have not seen the films yet this year because movie theaters haven't been open. You were getting screeners. I got some screeners for SAG. Do you have favorite films this year that you just loved?
I really liked Crip Camp, was great. That was a documentary. I liked
Something weird going on.
I have to ponder this, and it may take too long. I'll
Okay.
tell you as something.
If something jumps in.
Oh, the one, Another Round, that was really good. Another Round.
I don't know that. What is that?
That's like a Norwegian film about an experiment in drinking.
Wow.
And how, yeah, and how teachers, these male school teachers, decided to have a slug of liquor before they went to work. And then it progressed into you know, and, you know, it was an experiment that went wrong,
Wow, cool.
but it was really good. You know, it's fiction. It didn't really happen.
Okay, so well, all right. And so how were those first two experiences different than when you were a nominee? Because I imagine going there for American Graffiti and being a nominee had to be a completely different experience.
It was fantastic. That it wasn't, the lead up wasn't as long as it is today. So a few ads in the Hollywood Reporter and the Variety. I kind of split my money and ran little quarter-page ads because the studio wasn't doing anything really with graffiti. And yeah, and so, you know, my experiment worked. You know, it was just like my career, and it worked. And then when Jeff and I went to that, and second row this time.
Wow.
Yeah, and down the aisle was Sylvia Sidney, and I was for sure she was going to win. I did speech, you know. I was just happy to get there, you know.
Right.
And the award would have been icing on the cake, which I did not expect. I thought they would give it to Sylvia Sidney, and I was very shocked when Tatum O'Neal, who was, I don't know, 9 or 10,
Right.
she took the award for Paper Moon. But she really wasn't a supporting actress. She, you know, she had a main lead role, but they put her in to, I guess, give her a better chance to win. So it was a little bit unfair competition.
That's true. Do you know Ryan O'Neal? Have you met him?
I've met him a couple of times, but I don't know him.
Mhm. And you and Jeff still friends?
Oh, yeah, sure. I just heard from his wife the other day. I just emailed her and asked her how Jeff's doing with his recovery. You know, he got sick.
How is he doing?
And she said his hair is growing back.
Good.
So I'm glad, because, you know, he has beautiful hair, and, you know, he looks good with it, and he has nice waves in it. I'm glad it's growing back, because for a while he was completely, you know, old.
I can't
So,
even picture him that way.
I know. Poor
So,
kid.
all right. So the last time you were here, we talked a lot about American Graffiti, and we got all through that, and we didn't get at all to The Man Who Fell to Earth, to any of the David Bowie stuff, which is, I mean, you had a huge role with a huge.
I did.
Okay, so how did you get that part? How did that audition happen, and or did you audition?
I did not audition. I was given the part by the director, Nick Rogue. And so that was the one I was actually, you know, given something before anyone else got there. I was the first actor hired movie.
You were
So
hired before.
that was really great.
Before David?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And
You
so
know, I spent a little time in bed together. Oh yeah.
God, we're going to talk about those.
We're dressed up.
You are, but there are a lot of nude scenes in that movie.
Oh, too many. I was
Were you-
mortified, and so was he.
Really?
You know, he was very uncomfortable, and so was I. And but you know, it was the 70s, and nudity was mandatory then. You know, that was cutting edge. Now it's a dime a dozen, but then it was, you know, it was a new thing. 70s, you know, nudity, get the actors to do nudity.
So at what point did you have to take
I didn't like it, but I did it.
At what point ddid you have to take it all off with him? Like, had you been working together? Did you know each other before you had to take it all off?
Yeah, they didn't do those scenes, but you know, David Bowie wasn't, you know, he's not he worked and then he went to his house. Wasn't one to hang about, and he had his entourage, he had his secretary, his his wardrobe lady,
Uh-huh.
and the day's work would be over with. He would go back to his place, which was fine with me.
How was
But
he?
we did get a
on
few
set?
pictures.
Oh, you're gonna show, okay, show
Yeah.
us some pictures. Yeah, show us some pictures.
Oh, okay. Well, these are the Polaroids, but here I am as my older
Oh my God.
older Mary Lou. That required 96 and a half hours just to get it on.
Jesus.
And that's how long I spent in the chair.
Wow.
Here I am with doubling David Bowie. I'm in his clothing.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. That's fun.
Yeah, I doubled him in the movie. So you're going to have to watch the movie to see if you can find me. But yeah.
Wow. Oh my Lord.
Can you see this okay?
Yeah, make it a little higher, move up a little bit. That's wow. I can't believe you were his double. That's crazy. You were as skinny as David Bowie. Skinny malinks, both of you.
Yeah, and I could wear his clothes.
Wow.
His clothes weren't that big on me.
Wow.
And found a little red wig.
Did you do a lot of what scenes did you do as his double?
That's for you to
Okay.
watch the film and try to find me.
Wow.
So here's a scene that was very sad.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember this?
What a photo. I don't remember that. I saw the movie not that long ago, maybe a year ago, but I don't remember that scene. What is that?
That's a scene where he won't reveal himself, and I beg him to, and then he gives me, and I put it on, but it doesn't fit. And I throw it to the floor, and I said, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit.
Wow.
And that's the last time he sees Mary Lou at that age. Well, this is me older, so I have all these on my face. So I have all this rubber that I had to wear to make me look older.
You do. They did a good job. Yeah. It barely.
Yeah, that was a lot of rubber, and I had on a fat suit, and to make me look heavier.
So what was the day-to-day working with David like? I know he left the set and he would just go home, but how was he on the set?
Perfect. He liked to run lines, and he liked to, that's my main thing, is to know the lines.
Right.
And if I don't know the lines, then it's really hard to do the acting. He would, by repetition, and I attribute that he was a rock and roll god. Every time he would go to a new town, they would have to go and run their set, because they're at a new stage with a new sound. So he was really used to rehearsing, and he didn't mind at all the repetition of. We had a lot of dialogue, and the script so well written that you wanted to get it really perfect. So
do you have
without.
Do you have tricks for learning lines, Candy? That
repetition. That's it. Over and over again until it's second nature, and it's just it's no fun.
Is it more?
It's no fun
now?
What?
Is it more challenging now at this age?
It's always been. It's always. I was not a good student in school, and just memorizing a book report or some poetry, you had to get in class, was a nightmare for me. And I would shut down and be in front and just be turning colors, redder and redder and redder. I couldn't remember anything, and I would just rather have an F than do that. And
Cool.
So it was very difficult for me, and as a result, those old failures kind of linger on. So you know, it's just a lot of doing it by rote, you know. So that's just my feeling.
Tova just asked, she said, you look so young. She can't get over how gorgeous you
I
look.
do.
Yes. And
I can't tell how I, because
she wants to know if you have any
I'm-
beauty secrets to share.
well, you know, for a long, long time, I've been a scratchy sponge on my face with, you know, and when I'm in the shower, I just kind of sand my face with this. And so I just kind of sand away, you know, but it's been going on for years and years, probably 30 years of this method of
Like a loofah?
exfoliating, as they say. Huh?
Like a loofah?
Well, it's just one of those hand, it's like a, but it's very rough.
Mm-hmm.
And they sell them in, you know, beauty supplies and drugstores. It's just kind of this real scratchy, you know, you don't want to do any other parts of your body with it, that's for sure. It'd be too rough. Maybe your arms. It's just kind of sanded away. I've tried Botox way kind of when it was first introduced. Made my cheeks and everything feel so heavy and weird. I did not like the way it felt, and I just couldn't wait for it to wear off.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're going to age gracefully. You're just going to let yourself be candy.
just go to pot.
No, you're
let
not
myself just
you're not going to pot.
pot.
No, you look fabulous. You're not going to pot.
Well, not this second, but you know, I have a few years ahead of me for it to happen.
You look amazing. You look amazing.
Thank you.
Do. So how did Bowie, was Bowie, he looks so frail to me all the time. And I've seen him in concert a couple times. Was he frail in real life?
Not frail, because he, you know, had muscles and all of that. He was just thin.
Yeah.
Not frail. He wasn't sickly or anything. You know, it's just kind of a cultivated thinness that he had going there. You know, he liked the way it looked.
And so when you were doing all those love scenes, when the kissing and everything, did you feel like
we weren't like making out with our tongues or anything? No.
No, you were like actors doing a gig. Has it ever not?
And, you know,
Candy, have you ever has it ever not been that? Have you ever done a love scene with an actor where it really was?
No, it never gets carried away. Not with me, you know, maybe with other people, but you know, I'm not lost. No, I know there's a camera there and a wardrobe and a script person and a lighting person and the director. You know, I you know, lost in the moment, no.
Didn't you, maybe I'm remembering this wrong, but did you have like a body double for some of those scenes in that film?
There was an older actress that was in the scene where I come back, and you know, David has this gun, or Thomas Jerome Newton, the man who fell to earth, has a gun, and you know, we start playing around with the gun. First, I think, gonna kill me, and he says, you know, I could get rid of you and no one would know and no one would care. And you know, because it was all kind of captured, I assume, by the government, because he was from another planet and he had all these great ideas, 9 basic patents that his lawyer Buck Henry told him about, and he became like a billionaire, you know. So he was done away with and taken off the market because he was too smart. And when my character finally finds him again, you know, pass for me, but not for him. He stays the same age because he's from another planet.
Right.
And, you know, time doesn't move like it does for us here on Earth. And yeah, it was interesting. And you know, they cut it so it looks like it's really, you know, someone in their 60s, I guess. I didn't ask her. I wasn't there that day when they shot, you know. So David, I was watching him. He was going to town on her. He was really, really involved in the scene. Way more than, but by then his character was totally debauched and an alcoholic, so his innocence was totally lost. And, our little scenes when we were together were very modest and,
Did you have any
and embarrassed
him after so I assume that you didn't have a great big friendship on the set, that it was pretty professional, would you say?
It was very professional, and he was friendly, but he still had, his wife came, Coco, his secretary, his assistant was there.
Mhm.
So they, they did their own thing. They had a house. They weren't staying at the hotel. They had rented a house for him, large home. And so, the days were long, and, there were plenty of other people to hang with, like Rip Torn and Buck Henry. We were all at the same hotel.
What was
So
it like
Nick Rogue.
What was it like working with Rip Torn? I loved Rip Torn. Oh my God.
Well, he's he was quite the character, bit of a drink, but so was Nick Rogue, and so were a lot of people on the set. It was a full British crew, which was like Nick Rogue's whole crew came in from England, and they all knew each other. And at the about 4:00 in the afternoon, they had in one of the trucks, and that would open up, and people would start having their gin and tonics, and it was a very relaxed, fun, and many different locations. We were based in Albuquerque, and then we moved up to Santa Fe, and it was really fun. And David was a pleasure to work with and easy. I manhandled him a lot in this movie, touch his hair and squeeze and stuff like that. And not that he had boobs, but you know what I mean. And he just allowed it. He was very involved, and I think he wanted that. He saw a great opportunity with that character, and it was a huge for him, and he got a lot of notice, and it's got a huge cult following to this day. It's progressed and gotten a bigger. It's got a lot of fans, and I see on not Facebook. What's the other one?
Twitter?
No, not Twitter.
Instagram.
There's a lot of David Bowie fans, and they, have 8, 7. I go and look at their pictures and put a heart. I can't blame him for loving him. He was really a.
Was there a premiere? Was there like a big Hollywood thing for it?
There was a premiere and it was, flew all the way to England to see it, and it was wonderful. But then when it got here, bought by Cinema 5, which was an art house distributor, and Don Rugoff was the owner. And they wanted me to go on a 2-week tour to promote the film. And I had seen it in England, and it was fantastic. Mm-hmm. And so I got New York ready to go on tour. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'd really like to see the film one more time to refresh my memory and go out and promote and sell, And so we were at a theater, and I was sitting in the, was basically maybe it was one of Cinema 5's theaters. They did have their own theaters. Mm-hmm. And I was so shocked because they had edited a 2-hour and 23-minute movie down to 2 hours, all out of order. They had hired, I had heard they hired a guy that cut commercials to this. And I was so stunned.
Wow.
And I was, so nauseated. And I was the one that had to call Nick Rogue. And Nick Rogue and Graham Clifford had spent like 8 months editing this film, every day, and putting it in this order and that order. And, a lot of work and it was chopped up in less than a week. And so now I was in a predicament. How am I to, promote this film that I hate and destroyed in my mind, because I'd seen it, as the director's cut.
Right.
And so the next day I'm starting the tour in New York City. And I think it was the Village Voice came, and I'm in my suite, put me up first rate. It was red carpet all the way. It was wonderful. But now I'm in this position of having to cover Cinema 5's, reputation. Their reputation was that they would only put cut. They would never, ever, touch anyone's art. It was an art house, distribution place.
Right.
So, wow. So this little text just came in. Anyway, so I'm like, they have a PR guy, and my appointment is with the Village Voice, I think it was. And so I'm trying to promote this thing, and wonderful it is. And I'm so uptight, and they have this PR guy who is like hanging on to every word I'm saying. And so finally, he goes to the bathroom. And then I tell the Village Voice, I said, I'm being made to lie about this film. It's not the director's cut. It's been destroyed by Cinema 5. I just spill my guts. I felt like a prisoner of war, hostage, really. And the guy comes back, and then I just segue into, and David Bowie was blah, blah, blah. We had such a great, Anyway, so I call my manager, and I said, there's just no way I can do this. I can't lie for this company. I don't know these people, I have loyalty to them. And she said, leave the hotel, get on a plane, come home.
Wow.
And I really sad. And for years, then the VHS came out, and it was that lousy cut. It was a dismal failure. It, could understand what the heck was going on. And it's a complicated film in the first place, because, time is passing, and, it's not an easy film to follow in the first place. But once it was edited, 23 minutes cut out, a fifth of the film gone.
Right.
Anyway, for years.
About it, do you know?
Huh?
How did he feel about it? How did David feel about it? Do you know?
I don't know. No, I don't know.
Did he promote it?
I felt really horrible about it. No, he didn't promote it. Anyway, years passed. It came out on VHS. It failed at the box office, and I really had high hopes for it. And it was just a dismal failure, because it was totally out of order and missing stuff, and whole scenes were deleted and put back in strange orders. Anyway, so many, many years passed, and late 80s, maybe it was in the 90s, I found out that Don Rugoff was no longer at Cinema 5. So I thought, I'm going to give him a call. And I spoke to the guy that was in charge of, promotion for movies. And I said, and I lied, and I said, I'm being asked all the time about the Man Who Fell to Earth. There's so many people that are curious about this. I said, you know what? Put it out, put a banner across that says uncut, director's cut. And I said, I guarantee, and I will go on the road for this. If you do this, won't charge you, I'll just do it.
Wow.
And So he was like, considering it. So a couple of weeks later, I call him again and I said, so how's it going? He said, well, not good, because we found out that the negative has been cut. The guy cut the negative too.
Oh.
Yeah. And so I said, well, I know where this is, and it's in, England. And so I gave the guy the name of the person to call and the phone number for British Lion Films. And he called and got the uncut negative, printed it up. It's now, on DVD, and it's the full version, the director's cut, with a lot of talk. You can buy the DVD with us talking about it, and it got saved. And I never gave up on that film. And, happy to say that, Nick Rogue's masterpiece, which I talked about a lot. And, it's just, I'm very proud of that.
That's really wonderful. You're very
happy
proactive.
ending.
It is a happy ending. And you're very proactive about stuff like that. You don't just wait for things to happen. You make them happen. I mean,
never have.
This is one
That's
example.
not my style.
You just touched on it a few minutes ago, but you did the same thing with American Graffiti, because the studio wasn't backing the film. They weren't really getting behind it. And you started your own campaign, correct?
Yeah. I can't
How did you know to
wait
do
for
that?
stuff to happen.
How did you know what
Well,
to
because
do?
I just went over to Hollywood Reporter and Variety. This guy named Mike Malik, I think he worked at Hollywood Reporter. He helped me design the ads. I mean, it was a full thing. I gave him the money. I only had a little bit to contribute, maybe $2,500, and I split it between 2 papers, and it worked.
Had anybody done that before? Like, did you know, was there a precedent that you?
No, Sally Kirkland did it after. And it was very successful for her with Anna.
Yes.
And then there was this other actress that did it. She got, it seemed unseemly, but nobody else was doing it. And I wish I could remember her name. So good.
What
She did this film about a person living in a trailer park, and I just remember snow and, God, what is her name? It'll come to me in a minute. But yeah, it worked for her too, and she talked about it.
Well, but
And
what
she got flack.
what gave you the idea to do it? How did it even come into your head to do that?
Well, I believe in advertising, and I believe in promotion, and it's called show business. And it is a business, and, it just made sense. And they were running other ads for, movies, and, the studios were. But back then it wasn't done a lot, not like today, where it'd just be the Hollywood Reporter is like Beck, is like a phone book,
Right.
Not this year, but in the past. That's their year-end, money making. No, it's advertising.
There's another great story about your initiative when you were going to audition for American Graffiti. I believe it was a 2-shot deal. Can you tell the story of how you got that part? Your auditions?
Oh, that was, I've always been fairly bad at auditions. And so it's not like I haven't had a lot of opportunities. So, but I would just, freeze up and kind of like, doing the book report in front of the class, that old feeling comes up. And so it was a general meeting with a man named George Lucas. And there's rumors that this script took place in the 50s. So I thought, by golly, I'm going to dress as a character in the 50s. And I had my hair in a ponytail, Letterman sweater with a chain and a ring around my neck, like I was going steady, and bobby socks and saddle Oxford shoes. and blue jeans up. And so I'm sitting in the lobby and there's other actresses there. And I'm the only one dressed. And I was just like, ay, ay, ay. But I go in. George Lucas is naturally very introverted and quiet. And so that didn't help. And I go into this office and the desk is bigger than the room, basically. So I'm standing there in front of this desk. My back is a wall. It's just a closet of an office. And I call my manager and I said, I just, blew it again. I went dressed and nobody else was. And he just kind of stared at me. And a few weeks later, I had gotten a script and it was exactly what we were doing in Fort Worth, Texas, when we were growing up. And it was the 60s, not the 50s. And so I begged my manager, Pat McQueenie, I said, you got to get me back in. I've got to get back in. And so this time he said, well, once they see you and you don't make any headway, then they don't want to see the same people over and over again. But she somehow managed it, got back in, and same office, same little tiny, big desk, little back against the wall. But I was dressed as my in everyday clothes, and I did not mention that I had been there before. Believe me. And it was pleasant, very introverted and shy. So it was an awkward meeting. But the next thing I know, they wanted me for a screen test, and went down to Dove, and there was about 200 actors there, because there was a lot of roles in the movie. And the tension is building and building. And I had this one scene where Toad picks me up. And that was the one that, we were. And so I'm waiting my turn. And finally, my name is called. And I'm led to this back alcove in the big building. And there's George Lucas and Haskell Wexler. And they have a little early video camera. And there's Charles Martin Smith and a park bench that doubles as the car. And so I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to get this part because Charlie is a lot shorter than me. And they always like to have the romantic interest, the man towering over the lady. And I thought, I'm not going to get it. So I just kind of threw it away. I didn't try very hard. And I guess that's what I did, which I didn't, was not pushed at all or nervous. I just kind of gave up. And next thing I know, they told me I had the part. Charlie and I drove up to San Francisco in my Volkswagen Bug, broke down in Santa Barbara, had the engine overhauled, Barbara on a Sunday. And finally, we left at 4 a.m. and we finally hit San Francisco at midnight.
Wow.
So we were exhausted. And the first thing they say was, where have you been? But that was before cell phones. And good luck trying to find So we finally make it. And they say, well, you're going to have to try wardrobe on. So we just got there and then we're trying on clothes. It was like, ay. But, it worked out great. The blue and white, I tried on 3 outfits, and that blue and white stripy dress fit perfectly with no alterations.
Wow.
This is it. So yeah, I had a pair of, this was a low budget film. So, everything was used. The shoes, some shoes, Capizios, they found at the secondhand store. So,
and
the rest is history.
So many people's careers started there, from Harrison Ford,
Yes.
Richard Dreyfuss to, Ron Howard. Cindy Williams.
Ron Howard.
Mackenzie Phillips.
I saw Ron had brought his little film that he had won second place in the Kodak film contest. Artist brother, and he had brought one of those hand crank viewers where you put your eyes up to a thing and you crank it. And I went, wow, Ronnie. really good. And he was 18 and he had won second prize in the Kodak film contest. You know, that's not easy to do.
Right.
Yeah. So he went a long way, but I spotted his talent. I told him he was great. You're going to go the distance.
Wow. So he
And
wanted,
that's what he really wanted to do, was direct.
even back then, that's what he wanted. Is that
Yeah.
wow.
He directed his brother in this great, was really good. One, one actor, one director, home movie, but really good and edited, and it was,
Wow. Okay. So moving forward from, did you ever go see Bowie live in concert after having done that movie with
I
him?
did. After the movie was shot, went to see him as the Thin White Duke, I think. And I immediately became a Gaga fan. It's a good thing I didn't see him in concert prior, because I would have been very like reverent and,
Right.
creeped out, because he is such a huge star, but I really didn't until afterwards. And so the timing on that was great, because otherwise I would have just been, a yes man.
Did you ever,
Yes, David, oh, I love you.
did you ever spend time with him after the film? Like, did you ever run into him again after?
I ran into him a couple of times in New York City when I was doing this play called A Couple of White Chicks Sitting Around Talking. And we went and had, some coffee. But we were never phone friends or any of that. Once Christmas, though, after the film had, shot and everything, I lived in a little duplex apartment, and the doorbell rings. I open it up, and there's David Bowie.
What?
And there was the limousine from the movie, because he got that limo, as a gift from the movie. But there he was, and he gave me this phone pin, which I still have. And yeah, that was, I didn't even ask him, how did you find me? Nothing. He had his ways of, tracking people down.
That's
But there he
pretty lovely.
was.
I know another rock star that you're close with, which I have to ask you about. So how did you meet Jeff Beck, and how did that friendship
I
start?
met Jeff Beck at a hot rod show for Moon Eye. So because of American Graffiti, I do a lot of hot rod shows, personal appearances, and I show up and sign autographs from the movie. That's one of their biggest is the car crowd, vintage car crowd. Anyway, so I'm at this show, and it's late in the day, and the show is really winding. And so a man comes up, I have my pictures out. A man comes up and says, how much? And I tell him, and he says, okay, I'll pick that one. And so I said, okay. And so I said, who do I sign it to? And so I'm like looking down and at the picture, and, ready to personalize it. And he says, sign it to Jeff Beck. And Jeff Beck, the Jeff Beck. And he says, yes. Oh, good. So of course, I did, and I actually charged him for it. Anyway, so I get out from behind my booth, and I said, I gotta have a picture. And I swear the man was trembling, meeting
What?
like I was the superstar. He was shaking.
Wow.
And it turned out that he had seen the film 3,000 times. And he actually admitted to that, because he recreated the car, the yellow hot rod 32. He was a super fans of the movie. So that was quite the experience. And so, of course, I gave him my email address, and when he blew through town, a couple of times I've been to concerts, and been backstage.
I saw you
So,
one of the last shows that I saw was, besides The Who, was going to see Jeff Beck with Rod Stewart at the Hollywood Bowl. And there you were with
yes,
Jeff backstage.
I was backstage.
Does he still tremble when he sees you, or is he over that now? Are you just a person now?
Is he traveling? What?
No, does he still tremble when he sees you?
Oh, no, he's over that. But he likes me an awful lot, I can tell. And I keep saying, you're seeing Debbie. You don't see me, Debbie, and you love Debbie. But it gets transferred to me, which, is enjoyable.
Oh yeah. Any other
Nice hugs and kisses.
have there been other surprise celebrities who are super fans of American Graffiti that have like fanned you?
I think that's my biggest one, and that's pretty big.
It's pretty big. It's pretty damn big.
It's pretty big.
Okay, so then you worked on Zodiac with a couple of other great actors, with Jake Gyllenhaal and Mark Ruffalo. How did you get Zodiac? What was that like?
I think I just got hired for that out of the blue. And I had the part of the secretary who opens mail from the Zodiac. So, it was not a huge part, but it's still, I was, and so I have on all these, they put me in these plaid polyester outfits that were itchy. I don't know how we wore that back in the 70s, that polyester. It was like upholstery fabric or something, but they found some authentic, but I can't believe we wore that and how itchy it really was. So, but yeah, it was fun. Jake was, I didn't have that big a part. I was just there for a few days, so I didn't really get to know everybody, but
he seems
sorry,
lovely. He seems lovely.
It was very sweet, very sweet, very
Mhm.
sweet.
And how about it always cracks me up that you did When You Coming Back, Red Ryder, because I don't know too many people that know that. I did the play in college, but you played Cheryl with Marjoe Gortner, and Marjoe Gortner's got quite a story. What was that like?
Well, we shot it in El Paso, and it was originally a play, wasn't it? Mark
Meadow. Yeah, I was in the play. Yeah.
And God, it was just loaded with dialogue, and I played Cheryl, the hippie girl. Kind of hooked up with a Manson type who starts, messing with these people at this cafe, and breaks their violin and causes a lot of havoc. And it was a lot of fun to do. What was his name? Pat Hingle?
Sure.
Pat
Hingle.
Hingle, was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, super nice. And Milton Katselas, everybody was super nice. Every film I've ever worked, TV thing, the people that work on these projects are generally fantastic people, artists. So they're a lot of fun, and I really like being on the set and the instantaneous relationships you have to develop, because you're going to be with people that you don't know. It's kind of reminds me of modeling, because with the modeling, you working with another model, but you have to act like your friends, and for the photographs. So, but yeah, it's a lot of great people in the movie biz.
Marjoe Gortner was like he had a strange backstory, because he was like a kid wasn't he like a kid evangelist? Didn't he get famous?
Yeah, there's a great movie, a documentary on him called Marjoe that you can look into. It's really reveal religion and what a business it really is. And the whole goal, it seemed, was to get the money out of the purple-haired ladies. And he was very talented. As a 4-year-old, he could remember you know, a sermon and also script. So he had a real, you know, a mind, a memory mind that I wish I had had, but you know, only a few people get that. And he at a very young age, and they were kind of the evangelical types or Pentecostal types, and
Mhm.
you know, of a tent, you know, a traveling tent, and you know, it's a real interesting story. And then he kind of did an expose in the documentary where he reveals what a scam it really is. So it was quite revealing, the movie.
Was he was over, he was long past all of that. Was he like a, was he
Yeah,
like?
no, he was an actor.
Mhm.
Here's a
Oh, wow.
who
Wow.
dat?
That's David. I see David.
Yeah, and
Mm.
this is me starting my alcoholic.
It's so wild to see you with dark hair like that.
I know, and the hairdresser was amazing. He could create my hair into so many different
Wow,
styles.
that's gorgeous.
So
How did you start modeling, Candy? How'd you get your modeling break?
how?
Yeah, how'd you get your break as a model?
I moved to New York City, and that was something that I felt like I could do. And there were, you know, city is kind of the models capital of the world. You know, it's where all the photographers are that do advertising and magazines, and yeah, so you know, it was a natural thing to do. Plus,
Mhm.
it, you know, it didn't take any you know, you didn't have to go to school to do it or anything. You just start building your portfolio, working with young photographers and their portfolio, and you graduate, and gradually, you know, you get the knack of it, and you have an agent, and they send you out on a thing called G's. And it's not an audition, it's a go see, and you show your portfolio, you start getting work.
Mhm. And okay, so getting more current, because how about Twin Peaks? That's one thing I know I haven't asked you about yet. What was working on Twin Peaks like?
It was flying up to Washington State, and then it was really, really a lot of fun, but it was a lot of stress because they were shooting fast, and my dialogue was miles long.
Wow.
And my character angry at her husband, who never seems to get anything done, and my character is kind of at the end of her rope with her husband. Of, you know, there's leaks, there's, you know, diarrhea, the dog has diarrhea, the, you know, the buckets, the this, you know, a new carpet, nothing happens. So my character just goes in and blows up. So you know, and they were very secretive and very nervous about their script getting out and anybody seeing them. So when I finally finished, they actually took my sides, and that was it. So we
Wow.
weren't allowed to. They were very, very secretive about, you know, letting any, and we had to sign a what's it called, a non-disclosure. Yeah. I promise I will not tell anything until it's time. But yeah, it was a challenge, you know, a lot of dialogue had to be said really fast and angry and upset. And when it was shot on a location, like a kind of a officey building with a lot of, but a vintage style.
Mhm.
It wasn't a new, you know, out in the middle of nowhere. And my, you know, I come storming in, I throw the door open, and the room, and there's David Lynch in the corner, just a couple of feet away from me with a megaphone. You know, through a megaphone. And I started laughing so hard because I had never seen any director phone, but that's what makes him unique, you know?
I guess one of many things.
Yeah.
You mentioned a couple white chicks sitting around talking, so you did theater as well. I don't. You weren't a trained actress, from what I recall.
No, and I did that with Carrie Snodgrass.
Oh.
And yeah, Carrie Snodgrass, and it was a lot of fun. That play's kind of gimmick was they would change the cast, so it would be two new white chicks sitting around talking, and so yeah, that was Carrie. I wound up basically doing the play most of the time, 99% of the time, with the because Carrie had a lot of bad luck there. She got mugged. She got thrown down some stairs. She fell out of her bed and broke her arm or something.
Wow.
I mean, it was just like continual. And yeah, I never saw anyone have bad luck. It was the weirdest thing. But the audience was always disappointed because, they came to see Carrie Snodgrass.
Right.
I was never there. It was just the understudy and me. So anyway, it was an unusual experience.
Have you done other theater? Do you like doing theater?
I did one little thing here in LA, here in the Valley, called It's Raining on Hope Street. It was one of those tiny, tiny places where you're on a flat, you're on a floor at the same level as and you're doing the scenes, and I swear I could have reached out and touched someone's knee, they were that close. So it was real close-up work. I liked it, but yeah, the audience was just right there.
Robert just asked, did you get the sheriff's wife's part out of the blue, or did David Lynch specify you for the role?
No, I went to the casting, Joanna Reyes, that's his casting director that he uses, and went to her office. And what was really weird was the audition was just they were filming. She had an assistant that filmed over Joanna's shoulder of me just talking about, every was like, wow. And, I felt so uptight, even though I know Joanna, and it just like kind of threw me that was what they were doing. And, but for some reason I got the part.
So when the pandemic struck, I know you were doing a lot of, that you do a lot of hot rod shows and a lot of signings.
Oh yeah.
Like that. Was work shut down for you? I mean, I assume you lost a lot of work.
It was shut down for everyone.
Right. So what is your hope as things start to open up again? Like, do you feel that if you got a call that you'd be ready to go back on a set now?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've had both my vaccines. I feel very good. I don't, the only thing I'm worried about is it revisiting us from another country. But, I just want everyone to keep being vaccinated. The way we're going to get out of this. If we get out of it, now I'm worried that we won't get out of it. It's just like so troubling.
So
on a happier note, you want to see this picture of David Bowie, Nick Rogue, and the writer Paul Myersberg?
Sure. Oh my God! Wait a minute. Where's Bowie in there? Oh gosh!
In the middle. Wow.
Yeah, I see him. That's crazy. That's so like him. That's crazy. Wow. So Candy, when we used to run around and go to a lot of screenings and see films and go to the little luncheons, you took me to so many fun things. I assume those aren't happening yet.
No, they didn't have any of that. They had, you know, you'd get a Zoom meeting with the actor,
Right.
or they would say, you know, there will be a screening and you would be invited, you know, to watch it by other Academy people, but you didn't see everyone, you know, and they wanted you to post it on your face, you know, your social media. And, you know, it's just very new, you know, nobody knows how to through this. I mean, we've really limped along, you know, it's just, you know, it's just the storm all living through, and we're all trying to figure out, you know, how is it, well, now we know how it's transferred, but before it was like, you know, I remember going to the pharmacy and they had a drive-up window and I had my vents open on my car. And I thought, oh, the virus has come through the vents. You know, it was just like, we were just, you know, you felt like you were dodging this thing all day long.
Absolutely.
But, you know, I've come out, I started buying food way in advance because I knew by the leakage on the internet, thank God for the internet, but a lot of videos were leaking out of China in January. And, you know, Trump didn't officially say that it was a national emergency till March 13th or something. So month lead where I was like, you know, bringing in supplies because I knew there was no way that they could contain this because of travel. And it had been our New Year's, our Christmas, Chinese New Year's, you know, people were traveling, and that it was just a matter of moments really before it entered, you know, the US. And unfortunately I was right. And, you know, I don't feel happy about being right, but, you know, I did get a couple of months jump on the whole situation. So
to not
anyway, whenever I talk about it, I feel so overwhelmed and heavy by this whole ordeal. You know, it's just been an ordeal.
So not to leave everybody on a COVID heavy note.
Yeah, it's just like, ugh.
Let's go someplace fun. So you've met a lot of actors when you've gone to these screenings. You've gone to incredible party screenings. Do you have a favorite story, or were you ever completely starstruck to meet somebody? Anything fun you could end us with?
It was with what's her name? You know, when you give me these, sometimes they just, you know, I'm not prepared, so I don't have an answer. But it was Angelina Jolie, and she had done this film that we at someone's house that had a big screening room and everything. It was called First They Killed My Father. Okay. And it took place, I think, in Canada, you know. And so I'm watching this movie with a lot of people in this screening room, and it is tearing me, you know, crying. And, you know, it's really a horrible tragedy film, like a documentary almost. So the film is over with, and there she is, Angelina Jolie, real thin and tall. And, you know, she had just done this film that was just, I went over to tell her, and I was just sobbing. I'm like, I couldn't even talk. It was just hopeless. And my boyfriend, John, took my picture of me just like, you know, I was just, I couldn't, she was looking at me like, hey, that's interesting. That's an interesting reaction. I'll remember that. And I have to, you know, do an acting, because that's what actors do. They watch behavior. And I could see her, even though I was crying, I was still could see her watching me.
Wow.
actors do, you know, they watch behavior and they use it later, you know, so, you know, but she was like fascinated by my ears and my reaction to not even being able to speak. So,
Wow. Didn't you get to meet Brad Pitt? I feel like there was a screening that I was maybe going to go to. Didn't Brad Pitt show up at a screening?
it was brief, you know, nothing to speak about, not like Jeff Beck
Yeah, well.
or David Bowie or other actors
What about
that I've
George
worked
Clooney?
with.
Did you get to meet George at a screening? I feel like I've seen your picture.
I
with George.
did, and he went over for me, and I knew it wasn't real because it's like, you look amazing, you look amazing. I'm like, wow, thanks. And never met before.
Well, maybe he was a fan.
Maybe he thought I was someone else. I don't know.
No, but maybe he was an American Graffiti fan. Who knows?
I don't know, but it was like this huge reaction to, you know, just meeting someone for the first time.
Wow. Well, if you're going to get that reaction from
He looked amazing too. He's very handsome.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, Candy, thanks so much for coming back and doing this again. And I hope the next time we do it, we can be in the same room and go have lunch and go to a screening and do fun things.
Are you gonna treat?
Sure. Yes, I will. Even though you're
Let's go to the smokehouse. They have the best burgers.
Really? I've never been.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm still only eating.
Smokehouse.
I'm only eating outside. I haven't gone inside to a restaurant yet. I'm not.
Oh, they have outside.
All
All
right.
the restaurants have outside sections.
All right. Well, we'll have to go have a hamburger at the smokehouse. That sounds good to me. Thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome.
Love you. Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
rest of your day. Bye, everybody. See you soon.
All right, sweetheart.